Wednesday and Thursday, right? Or Thursday and Friday, something like, maybe Thursday and Friday. They're gonna come back.
Hmm.
And then regular.
Cool. Okay.
Six-year-old grandson will be happy when it's back.
He's ready to go back.
I cannot.
See, I miss my
wait.
bros. Like, you got bros?
6 years old.
Cheers, I miss my bros.
Technology. We good? Okay. All right. Let's roll. I'll call this meeting to order. Some feedback. Can I get a approval? Did everybody get a chance to look at the agenda? We got any changes, questions? Nothing? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Second,
Second, all in favor?
aye.
Did everybody get a chance to go through the minutes? Last one's August.
Yes.
Do I have any comments, questions, concerns, changes?
Everything looks good. I make a motion to approve minutes.
I'll second that. And then do we have any public comment?
We do that.
All right, perfect. Even better. Do we have any announcements?
I do not.
All right. Now we're on to introductions. Our new member, Jim. Nice to meet you. Good to be here. Do you want to?
Yeah,
So-
so normally when we have a new committee member, first meeting, we let you introduce yourself and then everybody will quickly kind of go around and say who they are and why they wanted to be on this board, and so you kind of know where people's interests
See, my
lie.
dinner for everybody, being a new guy.
Yeah, that is the
dinner's on
rule
him.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, we did that.
Sure to do that. So you want me to introduce myself now? Is that it? Okay, my name's Jim Sawyer. My wife Allison and I have lived in Mills River for 24 years. For 20 years, up until 4 years ago, we operated a vacation rental business off Ray Hill Road, Branch and Berry. And in addition to our healthcare careers, she retired 6 years ago. I retired a little more than 4 years ago from healthcare management. We have 5 grandchildren and 2 children. Our oldest grandkids live in Clayton, Georgia, and our three youngest live in Walhalla, but all of them come to visit us quite a bit, and we've enjoyed this park many, many times, in just about every way you possibly can, from floating down the river to fishing to running around and playing on the playground to hiking on the trails. And my wife and I come over here often and walk. She's a bit thinner than I am. I need to walk twice as much as she does to keep up with her healthiness. But we love this community. We love this park. We followed what you guys have done to develop the park and what you're doing, and we've been very impressed. And we know healthy communities have good park systems. So we look forward to, I say we because she often gives me her comments. So part of what I would
Good.
say if I offered a comment would probably reflect Allison's thoughts as well. But we look forward to making a contribution by being a part of the committee and serving. Thank you for allowing me.
Welcome.
Welcome.
You want to go around the room real quick, John? You wanna go?
My name's John Case. I retired from Kenwood Park. Probably about 22 years, 24. My time to Sawmill. Yeah. Been on this committee ever since it started. Oh, what's that been, about 12?
Yeah, yeah, probably more than that. Probably.
They talked me into it.
14.
Been the young ones at our park or Mill River School. I advocated for a baseball field for about 10 years. And I, from Mill River Grove. good way.
In a good way, in a good way. Yes.
Yeah, Tristan, I'll go next in line. Tristan Cowie, I grew up in North Georgia, so Clayton. I grew up in Dahlonega, not too far, so very familiar with that. I moved up here to go to college, and I've been up here ever since. So however long that is, I'm only a fraction of John's time. I'll work on it. Brevard. Yeah, so went to Brevard, graduated, met my wife, started a family here, and have been here ever since. So, yeah, I like, it's great committee, great board. We have a good time. We don't think, I think we make good comments and make good movement, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. I hope not. And yeah, I like people being out and using the park. That's my biggest thing. Let's have more people do it. So.
Welcome, Jim. I'm Laura Moore. Met you a little earlier. Good to have you on the board. I am a native of actually of Henderson County. I've lived in Mills River for about 7 years. I married into Mills River. My husband is from here, went to West. I went to East, but that's okay. We put that aside. Okay. But my kids went to West. I'm a graduate of Gardner-Webb University. While I was at East Henderson, my first job was at Jackson Park, and I loved the park system and just kind of followed it as I went to Gardner-Webb, worked with the sports program there, and when I had the opportunity to get on the board here, I jumped at it and have loved working with this group. Great group to work with. See, 2 kids, a husband. I don't have grandkids. I love how you put your grandkids. You have 5 grandkids and 2 kids. I like how you put the grandkids first. No grandkids yet for me, but love being part of the board.
I'm Eugene Edwards. I've lived here about 12, 14, 15 something years. Moved here from Nashville, Tennessee. So drop the N and add the A. I've lived in about 7, 8 different other cities, and Mills River's great. That park's great. 100% dedicated to expanding that park. I'm the guy who's pushing everybody like, why this got to take 10 years? Why can't we do this in 6 months? So it's a great place. Looking forward to it. So.
And you said we met. My name is Tammy Ross, and I live right across the way. And my husband and I have a little mini farm with pygmy goats, donkeys, chickens, turkeys, all that kind of stuff. And we have 2 sons. One just started his freshman at Mars Hill University, and the other one's a junior at West. Very active. And, I have always put all my time into them in school and volunteering and supporting the staff at all the schools that they go to. And then I joined this board a number of years ago now, and I have enjoyed being here and for the park. Often I walk here 3 or 4 days a week, and I now play pickleball here and other things. So I enjoy being a part of this town and giving back and making.
And I'm Nicole Sweat. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director. I've been here about 6.5 years, and with this board, we have done a lot of really, really great things. We adopted our first park master plan. We've built a baseball field. We've done some really amazing work. We've acquired property, got a lot of grant money, and this board's been an integral part of that. So we're very happy to have you on board to join us in our mission of bringing great parks to Mills River. So, yeah, that's all I've got for that.
Cool. Continue. We got a new business update on hurricane spots.
This presentation available on the Mills River Facebook page.
It's YouTube. It'll be on our YouTube.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm trying to drive too far away. All right, well, as you all know, our last, 3.5 weeks now have been consumed with, Hurricane Helene and the aftermaths of that. And, obviously, as it had affected everybody, it has affected our department greatly. So really today, all I want to do is give you an update on what we've done so far and what we need to do going forward to get, our park back on track. So starting Saturday, September 28th. So if you recall, so Thursday, we shut down the park for public use. 6:30 in the morning. We were already having water come over the road in the dog park. So we were able to get the park shut down starting 6:30 Thursday morning, that September 26th date. And it remained closed completely to the public that Thursday and Friday. Saturday morning, staff was able to get here, and literally everything but this building you're in and our maintenance facility was underwater. As the water receded, we were able to get in our front entrance, and by noon that day, we became one of the first open resource hubs in Henderson County to be able to do supply distribution. And so for the first 10 days or so post Helene, that's what town staff, including our park staff, concentrated on, was getting our emergency resources out. So just by the numbers of during that time, so from that Saturday we operated through October the 10th. We served 12,126 folks, resources through this site, with over 3,000 vehicles that came through to be able to get resources. What we were able to do is we were able to do MREs and water distribution, which is where it all started. Literally the first day, I think that's all we had was some MREs and water. And then we were able to be able to, as we got more resources, we were able to grow to do miscellaneous supplies. So it was everything from diapers, hygiene products, canned goods, pet food, cleaning products, you name it. We were able to distribute all of those. Because we are City of Hendersonville Water, we never lost our water here. So we were able to do initially just bulk water fill up where people, if you're on a well and you were out of power, folks needed water just to be able to flush their toilets and things like that. So we were able to provide bulk water fill stations here at the park for that use. Because of the generator that is attached to this building, even though we did not have power back, we were able to have device charging stations here at Town Hall. So we were able to provide a space for people. And if you were lucky enough to have Verizon, you actually had a smidge of cell service during that time. We also, as you can see, our rec staff also made sure we had some coloring activities and things for the kids as they were waiting. Make sure everybody had something good to do. We also were able to provide hot showers, which was probably one of the most impactful things we were able to provide. There's nothing after not having a shower for 5 or 6 days to be able to come in here and get a hot shower. So that is something we were able to provide while our resource hub was open. And then we also were able to do hot meals. So they were brought in by the National Guard and the Red Cross, delivered them to us, and we were able to, every day that they came, we were able to give over 1,000 meals a day, um, hot meals out to people, which was amazing. Of course, you know, as you all know, Mills River is only a staff of 12 people, so we could not do this do this alone. We had a lot of partners. We coordinated, so we were one of the Henderson County emergency management hubs. So all distributions and supplies came through them. So we were able to run the hub here in Mills River, but they had sites just like ours all over the county, in different areas. And we were fortunate enough that we could serve, you know, our Mills River community. Of course, the sheriff's department, Mills River Fire and Rescue. We even had folks, to help with some of our security from the, you know, the North Carolina Alcohol Law Enforcement, uh, adult corrections, we had the National Guard, and then we had a nonprofit group called To Serve that helps with, disaster, distribution and stuff like that were able to come in and help. So, we had a really amazing group of people, to serve a lot of people in a very short amount of time, which was really great. Then we of course we had over 300 volunteers, that came through and helped. Many of you are sitting up there. So thanks to those of you that were able to come and help. And I think the most amazing part to me of having so many volunteers show up is because we had no way to communicate with people that we even needed it. People just, when they found out we were being a resource hub, the Mills River community showed up and just said, what can I do? And day after day, more people showed up and said, what can we do to help? And it was awesome. I mean, it was amazing. It's what makes Mills River Mills River. So as I said, thank you to anyone out there listening who came and helped, and those of you that are on this board that showed up to help. Because we would not have been able to serve 12,000 people with 12 staff members. And so that was it. Does anybody have any questions about Resource Hub or how any of that worked throughout the process?
I want to say thank you. You guys were working extremely hard. You're here all day and see anybody sitting down.
That's right.
It was hard once and I have a regular job to do as well. So.
I agree. The volunteers that came one day that I was helping up front, and so many people just kept coming in, and I didn't want to turn them away, yet we had everything covered. And so it's one of those decisions, what do you do? But a lot of people were willing to rotate out. Just so thankful for our community that wanted to step up and help out. That was very touching. Very impressive and very heartwarming to see everybody was happy and the staff did.
Obviously, staff worked really hard, but there's no rest for the weary, because once we were done being a resource hub on Thursday, October 9th, we had to work on our own park cleanup and getting ourselves open. So I just want to just take a few minutes to review with you all kind of where we've been, what we've been able to do so far. The good news is we were a lot more fortunate than
Wow.
um,
Carrier Park. A lot
than
better
a
than
lot
Carrier.
of the parks in the area. It's blessing and a curse. Obviously, you love walking down by a river and that beautiful, peaceful that people like to do in parks, but a lot of parks are in floodplains, and so a lot of parks have seen a lot of damage in our area. Thankfully, ours is all repaired. That's a good thing. But so this picture right here is, we've been going through since, as I said, Thursday, October 9th, we stopped being a resource hub, and that's when we moved to doing our damage assessments and working towards reopening. Now, this picture right here, you can see this is one I took Saturday morning, and the water is probably about midday Saturday. how high the water still was. You can see that's our pollinator garden there. But that was all underwater. I mean, the picnic sheds, you know, the tables had mud on them. That's how high that water was, in that whole section. So we did a phased opening approach. We really wanted to get people access to parks, as quickly as we could. So the things that we could clean up quickly and open safely, that was our goal. So by Saturday, October 11th, we were able to open our inner walking trail, our park restrooms, both of our picnic shelters, our soccer fields, our tennis courts, tennis and pickleball, and our basketball courts. Our dog park did take a little more repair work, so we weren't able to open it in our first phase, but by Tuesday, October the 15th, we were able to get that open. Currently, what remains closed is our playground, our baseball field, our outer walking trail, and any river access down in our lower section. So that's where we're at right now.
The playground's closed?
Playground's closed.
Those people know that they're out in the playground right now?
Well, they're not, it's fenced off, so if they're, if they jump the fence,
Oh,
then
okay.
it is fenced off.
Okay.
So I'll just kind of go, you know, item by item. So restrooms and shelters, you know, thankfully they're pretty easy to clean up, but they all did flood. So the Hickory Shelter restroom, the restrooms by the playground, everything did flood, had a nice layer of mud and slime over it, but power washing, some shovels and some elbow grease, we were able to fairly quickly get those facilities back up and running. Our dog park, everybody, you know, this was the one, why isn't the dog park? Why is it? Because from the outside, it looked like it didn't get affected much. But what happened is just about every fence tie came undone when the floodwater, you can see that one there, and literally like dogs would be able to just slide into the fence. So that one took us a little bit of time. We did also lose some gravel that we had to regrade, where it just kind of scoured out. Staff was able to smooth it back out, so there's no tripping hazards. We will eventually have to bring in some more to replace what washed away and was lost, but staff was able to completely secure the fence again, regrade it from tripping hazards, and it's now opened. Tennis and basketball courts, while they did flood, they held up very well, so just took a little bit of power washing, cleaning. I do believe we have some additional cracking in the tennis courts that is new from the flood around the poles, with the high winds. You know, nothing structurally unsafe, but long term, you know, we may have to resurface sooner than we would have liked with our new resurfacing. But overall, structurally, they are sound and ready to play. Soccer fields and our inner walking trail. You can see that that's our inner walking trail right there. And again, the soccer fields were completely covered, but thankfully there was not a ton of sand and silt with that. There wasn't a ton of debris. We lost a few trash cans. You know, I know during a flood, we always pull our back trash cans. I did not think we'd pull our front ones. So we did lose a few trash cans, but no big deal there. And so once the water receded and we did a little cleaning up, we were able to get those open pretty quickly.
So the restoration along the river that you've done over the last few years, did that hold up or is that?
I'll talk about the back in a few minutes. Our pollinator garden, unfortunately, our pollinator garden, it was looking so beautiful, and our volunteers have done such a wonderful job in there. But you can see in this picture right here, she is telling you that's the water line, so you can see how high the water was down in that pollinator garden. You know, we're hopeful some of these plants in the spring might come back. Not super hopeful, but unfortunately, just because of the time of year, it'll be May before we can really go in and replace those plants for repair. But again, you know, little mulch, some new plantings, we'll get that place back in order. Our playground. The good news with our playground is structurally everything is still sound. The flooding. What we did lose was our engineered wood fiber, which is the mulch and safety surfacing beneath it.
Mhm.
So we had a fair bit of sand deposit in it, and a lot of it washed onto our soccer fields and walking trail, meaning we don't have the safety surfacing legally required for people to be able to play on it. And so we're working right now with some contractors to be able to get that in. So it's a very easy fix. We essentially have to scoop off about the top 6 layers, I'm sorry, 6 inches of the sand and silt, contaminated mulch from the sand and silt. We'll have to take that off and then put back new and pack in fresh. So ultimately, it's not a big fix, just something that's taking a little longer because we have to rely on contractors to get that work done. But hopefully, we'll get that done before too long. Our baseball field took a little bit more more of a beating. Thankfully, I mean, in all honesty, it's really not that bad. We do have a fine layer of sand and silt on the infield. Staff has started to try to like slowly drag it to get any. The good news is it's not thick. It's, I mean, less than probably a quarter or eighth of an inch. And the good news is they put silt in baseball field mix anyway. And so essentially we're just trying to drag and rake out all anything like bigger rocks, sticks, those sort of things. Once we actually get a little bit of rain, because it's too hard right now, we'll be able to nail drag it, kind of incorporate that little bit of silt that was left in the infield. We may have to add a little bit of clay, but ultimately the infield is not a big deal. Our outfield drainage, which again is not really going to affect playability, just is going to affect future drainage. It is packed with sand and silt in there, which means it's not going to drain anymore. And there were a couple places where it just tore up, so we are going to have to replace the drainage along the outfield area. Our baseball supply shed was a complete loss. It was completely underwater. So that's where, we keep all our sand and silt, our bags of quick dry, which somehow did not. And then we did have a couple of trees come down on the fence lines. It was just the top, so thankfully damage is minimal, although we do have a bent foul pole that we're going to have to reset. I don't know if something hit it. I don't know if it was just the floodwaters or the wind, but we have a very bent foul ball pole. But overall, the damage is not astronomical. It's, again, all fixable. It's just going to take a little more time. We will have to get contractors to do some of that drainage work, and we'll have to do. I'm not sure if we'll be able to salvage the shed. It might be a full replacement deal, but again, not in the grand scheme of things, not a big deal there. Then we have our river and trail access. So again, I mean, we did a lot better than a lot of other people. And to go to your point, and I think a reason for that is because of the riverbank restoration work we did. I mean, those of you that were on the board then, and we got that grant through DEQ, and I can't even remember how many years ago it was, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, we did that major riverbank restoration work. Every bit of it held up. And it did exactly what it was supposed to do. And while all the water still came out, it brought the sand, the silt, and the debris. Because the water was moving slower when it came in, and came up slowly is a relevant term here. We haven't been able to uncover the path yet, but if you guys remember Tropical Fred, Tropical Storm Fred, that's the one that tore up about 100 feet of our walking trail. We do not appear to have that same level of damage. As I said, there may be a little bit of structural stuff here and there underneath, but for the most part, the trail does seem intact. Our benches, minus the one that got pretty smashed, held up pretty well. So overall, I'm very pleased with how that went. The big project back here is really just cleaning up. There's a lot of debris. There's a lot of logs. There's a lot of trash. But everything, for the most part, structurally seems pretty sound. I'm waiting on an engineer to hear back about our fishing pier. So overall, I think the footer seems pretty well, but there's now like a little ripple in the the wood, you know, like what would be a flat, like the deck of the fishing pier. I think it's just the wood. I don't think it's the footer or anything, so I'm hoping that's gonna be a pretty easy fix, but that's gonna take further assessment to know whether we had shifting in the footer or, um, you know, if it's just gonna be redoing some boards. So again, just a little further assessment there. The only thing, I didn't have a picture, at the boat launch. You know, you have the steps down and then you have the footer there too. There's now probably about a 2.5 foot drop between the bottom of, like, the river bottom and the top of the footer. So that step down is gonna be a challenge. So we've got to figure out what we can do to make that safe for folks, be able to make that step off. And so that's gonna take a little more, assessment down there too. As I said though, overall, you know, we're not gonna be able to truly figure out the full scope of damage until we are able to get that debris and mud cleaned up so we can kind of see what we're dealing with. But overall, I feel like it's a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. If that makes sense. Over on our undeveloped property, so the dairy farm next door, you can see in that first picture, so that is that, ditch between, Mills River Village and the town property. And that is substantially wider, substantially deeper than it was, a few weeks ago. So that is something, we will have to address because the erosion there, if we get another rainstorm, is gonna continue to be an issue. This is our well. This was our well. We actually had a well specialist come in and assess it, and it is mostly plumbing type issues. The well itself, they believe, is still gonna be functioning with a new control box and some new pipes and tanks, but the well house itself is destroyed. And it's gonna take some repair work to get that well replaced. And we do, you know, on that section, we do have a large amount of riverbank damage that we had a lot of trees go down, a lot of erosion. So that, you know, something we'll just have to deal with going forward. But the building, the dairy itself, where we keep a lot of our equipment, is stayed out of floodwaters, which is good. And so yeah, we're pretty happy with the minimal amount of damage, that we really did receive compared to a lot of other folks. No, 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 no. So as far as programming, so obviously while we were a resource hub, we had to put a lot of our programming on hold. I'd like to thank anyone listening, from West Henderson High School actually allowed us to use their court, so we were able to continue tennis, pretty quickly, over at their courts, and then we have since moved them back to ours. Our family camping and movie night was scheduled for that weekend, that Saturday after Helene, so obviously we had to cancel that. But we were able to reschedule it for this weekend. We had a great turnout, camp with families. It was a little chilly, but everybody had a blast. Everybody was super appreciative, and all of our other regularly scheduled programs are back. So, you know, our Couch to 5K, our refit dance class, any of those other classes are all back to their regular schedule. One little change, so we were supposed to start the first week in October a new yoga class, which we were super excited about, which we are still now offering, but our instructor, with everything going on, really just wanted to provide a service to the community. So through the end of this year, so through 2024, she's gonna offer that program for free. So people still have to sign up. She just really wants a, you know, place for the community to be able to get together and relax and have some community. And so our instructor, felt very passionate about that. So people can go on our website. We do have limited space because it does take place in this room. So people, that'll be on Mondays and Fridays at 8 a.m. right here in this room. So that's great that we were able to. People have just been so appreciative to be out here and having a space and having those distractions. And, we're glad we were able to get our programs going as quickly as we could. So next steps. So as I said, currently we're waiting on our request for quotes, for a playground mulch replacement. Hopefully that won't take too much longer. It'll mostly just depending on the contractor availability to get that in and done quickly. We're gonna continue the infield repairs to the baseball field. As I said, the drainage will take a little longer, but that doesn't mean the field won't be usable in the meantime. It's just not gonna drain as well if we do get some rain. We are currently working on an RFQ or a request for quotes for the debris removal and cleanup. So that's our next big step, is to get someone in here to do that cleanup. Because it is more than staff and our level tractor can manage. So we are gonna have to contract that out. And then once the cleanup is complete, we will do a full damage and safety assessment to be complete, to then in turn do another RFQ to actually do any repair work that is needed. So unfortunately, it is still gonna be a process, but we are moving forward on it, making progress. It's just not, wish I could snap my fingers and be open tomorrow, but that's not the case. But the good news is, we're figuring out what we're dealing with. We know it's not as bad as it could have been, and we're making good progress. So, and then with that, is that questions? This is, I don't know if you follow the flood gauges. So this is the Mills River flood gauge, which is actually way up in Pisgah. So it's not an actual representation of what we deal with here at the park, because we also pick up all that water between Pisgah National Forest and here. So, but that's, normal level is usually right around our normal level.
Wow.
That's a lot of water.
Yes.
I was like, here, it tells you the normal range is 7.5 feet. I can tell you anything above 5, it's usually when we flood here. So if this gauge in the north, that's in North Mills River is around the 5-foot mark, we normally have flooding on this site, and it made it way there.
Hey, question. How did your assistant, I can't think of her name, make out?
Michelle.
Yeah, how did she make out? I just realized she's not here.
She's fine. Well, I said she's on vacation. Her mother had a surgery this week, so she's down dealing with that. But yes, yep, she's good. Thankfully, most of our staff, some had damage at their houses they're still dealing with. But
She's
so,
okay.
yeah. So everybody's working through it.
I have a question. How will this affect the timeline for the accessible playground?
That's the next thing.
Oh, okay, okay, sorry.
Oh, I will let you
Did
know.
I not see that? I'm sorry.
Yes, he jumped in.
Sorry, sorry.
No, that's
Okay,
okay.
I'll wait. I'll wait.
Does anybody have any other questions about flood or sub or path forward? As I said, I know people are itching to get back there, but there is a lot for us to deal with and get cleaned up, and we want to make sure we do it right too. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have as far as.
Move into the segue right on into the
Since Laura.
playground.
So yes, as Laura alluded to, so the original timeline for our playground accessibility project was that the contractor's bids were due on October 1st. So that was that Monday after Hurricane Helene, when no one had communications power for anything. So needless to say, we did not get any bids for that project. So what we were doing, and in your packet, I do have the new advertisement. So getting sent out tomorrow. Last page. So we are basically sending this out to bid. Again, we're basically re-advertising the bid. Most of the people that are interested have already done all the work. They already put their bid packages together long before that Monday, or at least mostly had it done. So we have moved our bid opening to November the 6th. And basically everything in our timeline just got pushed back 2 weeks. So it'll start 2 weeks later and it'll end 2 weeks later. So it's not gonna have a huge impact on our project. One thing both myself and the town manager wants us to make sure of that with everything else going on, we don't wanna just focus on the cleanup and the recovery, but make sure we're still moving forward on the things that we promised the community. So, so our plan is, hopefully we'll get bids, back on this. And at the November 14th meeting, we'll be able to recommend a contract, with construction still to continue this winter as planned. Instead, it'll just be set back just a couple of weeks. So.
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's it.
Good.
Cool. Okay. Anything? Anything else? You wanna talk about the next meeting, January?
January, I know. Well,
Wow.
this is, we always, because we're the 4th, we always fall Thanksgiving week and Christmas week. So
Right.
traditionally, so unless we have business that just can't
Yeah.
wait, we'll have to call a special meeting. But so unless something pressing comes up, yeah, we will not meet again until January the 28th.
End of January. End of January. Wow.
We come with that 4th. The holidays always get us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be. What is the likelihood of getting those bids? Talk about that, or is that gonna be for the playground?
You all don't need to.
Yeah,
make
well,
a
yeah,
rec-
'cause I
Yeah,
guess
it'll
the
go to,
budget's
it'll go
already
to
set.
council because the budget's set. You
Yeah.
all made the recommendation to do the project, so ultimately it's just up to council whether or not to accept the bids or not. So. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. And as I said, if there is some pressing business that comes up, we can certainly reach out and call a special meeting. But,
So that bid will go before council.
mhm.
Will that be in November?
And
it will go-
assuming we get enough bids back, so we'd have to have at least 3 bids, be returned. And if we get 3 bids back, we'll present it to council
In
on
November.
November 14th
Okay, okay.
for a recommendation or
Gotcha.
approval to sign.
You wanna say something about the volunteer?
Oh.
So Michelle changed.
Yeah, that's right. So, because of the hurricane, our original volunteer appreciation dinner was supposed to be, I believe, tomorrow. And it got moved. Do you know the date offhand?
20th.
The 20th.
I don't know what
Yeah.
time. I have it at 6, I don't know. if that's-
We have a,
Yeah, 6 o'clock, and that's at the High Vista Country Club.
y'all gonna be in High Vista?
Yeah, we're into the High Vista. Yeah.
All right, I just roll down. Well, I can't roll down the road because there's no more road. We lost the dead road. We did lose a road in High Vista.
Did you really?
So, yeah,
Yes.
so that's November the 20th. So save the date. If you haven't RSVP'd to Michelle, let her know if you're coming or not. Yeah, that's it.
November the 20th. What time is it?
Is that right? I have it as 6, I don't know if that's correct.
6, I think so,
Okay,
yes.
all right,
I think so.
Check it.
That's the volunteer appreciation dinner, which is our traditional one we use for our boards. We also are working on all our amazing volunteers to do something to honor them as well that helped during Hurricane Helene. So that's something we are working on and we'll keep you posted on as we solidify some details there.
So have you talked to High Vista gonna be able to do it still? I mean, they open and running and, okay.
Cool. Yeah. Make a movement
I
to.
like a motion to adjourn, fill the house.
I second.
All right,
Aye.
all in favor, yep.
All in favor.